Every abridger has a story to tell. This is just another one of mine. Hi, I'm Electric Doom, and this is another vlog. So anyway, this is actually a vlog I wanted to do my first one about because this is the one I wanted to talk about the most versus anything else. And in a lot of ways, it's a story of redemption. And a story of, holy shit, what the fuck was this guy doing at the time? And if you don't know what I'm talking about yet, I'm talking about episode 3. To quote a great man, episode 3 is like a child to me. In fact, all my episodes are like my children. That's just the one child you really, really hate, and you wish midway through you could have just said, no, I'm all set. Let's just get rid of this one. I know that's really awful for me to say, but in a lot of ways, that is episode 3 in a nutshell for me. And like I said, it's kind of a tale of redemption in a lot of ways. Because when I first actually wrote the episode, let me backtrack a little bit. Episode 2 was put out December 27th of 2013. And right after that, I went through a really bad thing with writer's block. Like, super awful thing with writer's block. And I tried writing another episode. What was episode 4 was supposed to be episode 3. I actually had this idea in my head. I just had no way of getting from point A to point B. I just had this brief idea of, okay, I'm going to introduce Goro. I'm going to do this whole idea. And I had no clue how I was going to have it done. Zero idea. All I knew is this is what I wanted to do for the episode. But at the time, around January, when I finally decided to start to write it, I was really in a bad spot in my life. I was exhausted. I'd let some people into my life that, took advantage of me in a lot of ways. I was drinking really heavily. I was dealing with, a really bad depression, and I was having some really bad thoughts in my head, and without the help of a lot of friends, I might not even be here telling you this story. But, enough about the bummerness of this whole thing. Let me bring you back to one of the everything that spawned episode 3. So I went over to my buddy Joe's house, and Joe is one of my very good friends. He's in a lot of ways like a brother to me. We were hanging out watching hockey at his house, and we were drinking. I was having some beers and some Jack Daniels and Coke, and I was getting absolutely shit-faced. And I was talking to him. We were watching hockey, and I was talking about my life and all the things that were going on, and Joe was just there to, give me some helpful advice and be an ear there for me. And, I'm really glad he was there. And instead of drinking and driving, I decided, I'm going to go upstairs, crash in like the guest room and, just try to sleep. And as I'm sleeping there, I started thinking of hanging out with my friends. And then for some reason, Card Games Against Humanity showed up. Or Cards Against Humanity, I'm sorry. And then the 3/5 amendment, I thought about it and I just started laughing, saying, oh my god, that is like an instant win card. And then in my brain I said, oh my god, what a great episode idea. It's an instant win episode. In my head, I'm like, this will be an episode that I put out. It's going to be like episode 6 or 7, like while I'm so far into the series that I'll be able to look back on this and say, that's the episode that made me. Because in a sense, it's an episode about nothing, but it has it's just, in my head, it was the funniest goddamn thing I've ever written in my entire life at the time. And I'm like, this is going to be my crowning achievement. This is going to be my Citizen Kane of abridging, This is what people are going to look back at and say, Electric Doom, episode 6 or 7, that's going to be the episode that we remember him for, And obviously, I was really drunk when I wrote this script, and I said, this is great. Like, I went to bed, I woke up, it's still saved on my phone, because I typed it out, the whole episode on my entire phone, and it was written in one night. I'm like, that's the magic I did with episode 1. I wrote it in like 20 minutes, but I was also drinking when I wrote episode 1. So, then I rushed, like I said, I rushed home, I typed it all up, and I said, oh my god, this is so great. I'm going to keep this one on the back burner. Now it's time to write episode 3. And then, well, this is how this goes. Few days trying to write, didn't get anywhere. Started drinking a lot. Got really down. about incidences that happened, that were happening, things that were so beyond out of my control due to other people and other things. You know, problems with work, problems at home, problems with, you know, people that I brought into my life that, you know, just I found out were really bad people. Another few weeks go by, still nothing written out, you know. Drink more, get mad, get sadder, you know, just get absolutely depressed as possible. Drink myself into a stupor, go have some really bad thoughts, call a good friend up. He says, you know, I'm going to call somebody up to help you out. Check myself into therapy and rehabilitation. And while I'm in the middle of doing this whole thing, and I'm not meaning to like get too personal with this whole thing, but this is kind of in a sense, it's kind of therapeutic for me in a way to talk about this. So I started getting sober, you know, I stopped drinking. And then I said, okay, well, what's going to make me happy? Because putting out these episodes, funny enough, would help me clear my brain and give me something to focus on. Because I can get lost making an episode and I don't worry about anything going on in my life. Of course, you know, what happens next, you know, still have really bad writer's block. Can't get it out of my head, you know, can't get the words I need. I can't get the episode out. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, it's like beginning of April, and I'm saying, holy shit, I haven't put out an episode in almost, God, like 4 months, you know? So it was really hard for me at the time because I'm like, I need to put an episode out. And then I remembered, oh wait, I have episode 3 on the back burner. I'll just put this episode out. Thinking, you know, it's going to be a little early. It's going to be my crowning achievement still. People are going to look back and say, that's the episode that we remember him for. And when I sent it out, I'm really psyched. I get lines back from Emma and Tamau, and I do my things, and I start editing it. And then I start realizing as I'm editing it, oh my God, what have I done? This episode is a crock of shit. And the episode is based, if you guys didn't know, it's based off of the idea of, like, obviously the 3/5 Amendment and, like, slavery and overall awfulness, but it's also based off of a show that I love that me and my friends watch. It's called Wonder Shows, and they have an episode called Patience. The whole episode, in a sense, is a reference to Patience, the episode, because midway through the episode, they take the episode, and if you look at like the TV monitoring thing that I wrote, it's almost a word for word verbatim of the episode Patience. And I flip the whole episode in reverse just like they did. And this is a show that aired on MTV, like late at night on like Friday nights. Like, this is a syndicated show that they did this on, and they trolled the whole world. And I said, you know what? I'm just gonna troll the whole world with this episode. It'll be great. But it wasn't. It was a crock of fucking shit. And as I'm rendering this episode, I say I can't stop now. I'm in the mood to do this episode, and I have to have it done. And so around May, sometime in May, I get the episode out finally. I'm not happy with it. I'm just like, you know what? Fuck it. Upload it right to YouTube. Don't even bother with high definition or anything. Thinking back, I didn't even edit the sound right. It doesn't look right. But in my head, I was like, oh, it's the best it's gonna be. And I'm thinking what was gonna be like my Citizen Kane became like my The Room. You know, it became my Birdemic. It became my, you know, fucking A. It became like, oh God, it's just so bad. Funny enough, it was well received, I guess, but I've had people ask me like, oh hey, like when I've met people like, and they're like, oh hey, aren't you the guy that just nuked your entire cast and stopped editing and like stopped your series? And I'm like, yeah, but it's still going on. So I feel like in a lot of ways, what was supposed to be like my magnum opus of an episode, where kind of I just get to be like a douche and troll everybody, it ended up becoming something I honestly thought was really gonna hurt me. But the good thing about it is, after the episode, it did so much more for me personally, because after that, I wrote episode 4 like a week afterwards, and I sent the script out. And in all honesty, it was one of those things that when I finally had it done, ideas were just back. It killed my writer's block, and I had so many more ideas coming through. I had so many ideas. I was able to get them all out. I put out episode 4 and 5 within like a month and a half of each other, which was a really big achievement for me because I've never done that. Like, the lag between episodes 1 and 2 wasn't that bad, but the episodes between 2 and 3 was awful, and now I'm kind of making up for lost time in a lot of ways. But I feel like the episodes have gotten better. The only problem is I don't feel like episode 4 was as well received as it was. And I got a great cast of people for that. I brought on Score and Go. I got Foul Fang in there. Emma came back in true fashion. Tamao did, and they killed it. And I brought in Allie for what would become episode 5. And when episode 5 came out, I was getting a lot more views than I got on episode 4. And I thought, oh God, it's because of episode 3, isn't it? Like, people think this is, like, episode 3 is what's happening, Like, they think the series is over. And I think now people are starting to realize that it's not over and it was just a thing that happened. I'm really glad I put out episode 3 in a lot of ways. It's bad. It's really bad. But it's been well received in a sense. And I think, like, as far as longevity goes, it's going to be the one people look back and still laugh at and say, that was kind of funny how he did that one there. And honestly, if people just want to watch the episodes, go 0, 1, 2, and then skip over 3, I'm not going to complain either. Because, like I said, it's like a child of mine. It's like my kid. You're going to love it for what it is, but you still have to realize it sucks. I mean, maybe that's just not a good way of looking at parenting, but, whatever. But, at the end of it, I'm glad I put it out. Because without it, episode 4 wouldn't have happened. Episode 5 wouldn't have happened. All these other ideas I have right now that are going on right now, that I'm working on 2 different projects at once right now for the Call of Squid Girl, it would have never happened had I not put out episode 3. So in a lot of ways, I'm really thankful for episode 3. But I'm still not going to say it's great. It's awful. But nonetheless, I'm proud of it nonetheless. So basically, that was another vlog for me. And I don't like doing commentaries on episodes. That's why I'm calling this one a retrospective. So I know there's probably a lot of other abridgers out there that have put out stuff that probably isn't the best thing they've ever done. But at the same time, I'd love to hear about it. So, if you've put out episodes before and you think, okay, well, this isn't the best episode I've done, why not tell the story? I mean, I'm kind of just using this as storytelling for now. So that's what I want to hear. If you're an abridger out there and you've put out an episode you're not proud of, share it. Do a retrospective on it and explain where your head was at when you wrote it. Anywho, that's the end of this vlog. I'm Electric Doom, and you're not.